Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I am back with another apartment renovation, and we are renovating 920 Medina Studios in San Myshuno. This is an apartment I don't renovate that often, but I do like the shape of it. It's a little bit on the bigger side, but it's not too massive of an apartment, and I had a very vague concept going into this one, which was that I wanted to create a space that utilized cherry wood tones with navy blue walls. So that was the entire concept coming in here, and it quickly turned into an apartment for a sim who I think pursues a lot of different creative endeavors. They enjoy art, like painting and things like that. They also really like to spend time playing piano, so we have a keyboard in this space, and I feel like they dabble in just a lot of different artistic skills in The Sims. You could probably add all sorts of things in here, but the idea was that the sim was a very busy, creative person that's kind of jumping from project to project and probably spreading themselves a little bit too thin. And I think we can all relate to that when you have a lot of hobbies and things you want to achieve. So that was kind of the idea that developed as I was working on this one. Many of us have so much going on that it's hard to find time to take care of ourselves, like eating proper meals throughout the day. And that is why I am so happy that Factor is sponsoring today's video. Factor is a meal delivery service that sends fresh, never frozen, chef-crafted meals straight to your door. They are dietitian approved and ready to enjoy in just 2 minutes. Factor's no-hassle prepared food makes sure you always have something nutritious on hand when you're too busy or tired to think about cooking. Life is busy and it can be tempting to just order takeout or grab snacks all day, but Factor can help. There are 35 weekly menu options to choose from, including Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, Vegan, and Veggie. So you are fueled all day with delicious and healthy food. And after a long day, it's nice not having to worry about deciding on dinner, prepping, cooking, and cleaning up. In this week's box, my favorite was the chicken Alfredo pasta with garlicky broccoli. I had it for lunch between editing videos, and it was so creamy and delicious. And it only took 2 minutes to heat up in the microwave. So I was able to get back to work in no time without sacrificing a quality meal. If you'd like to try Factor for yourself and support my channel in the process, use the link in my description and code GryphiJan50 for 50% off and free shipping on your first Factor box. It's great food, and every purchase helps me create more awesome content for the channel. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to it. So like usual, I am starting in the kitchen. I was really inspired by these countertops from the Vampires pack. They were that perfect cherry wood that I was looking for, and I never use this particular swatch of these counters. I feel like if I'm using them, it's most likely the green swatch, maybe the white and black, but I really liked this color combo, and it's just one I don't think I've tackled before in the game, and it kind of feels like a sitcom sort of apartment when it's all said and done. I don't know why I get that vibe from it. I think it's just because it's such a colorful interior, kind of a very specific color scheme. Maybe that's why, but let me know if this looks like an apartment from a show you've seen. I'm not really sure, but it kind of gives those vibes to me at least. But playing around with the windows now and some of the rugs I want to use on the interior, I originally thought I wanted a slightly more traditional looking window in a white swatch, and that is not at all what I went for in the end. I actually end up having black windows throughout the entirety of this apartment, and I used a combination of ones from the Myshuno stuff pack and I believe Get to Work. These windows are so pretty and I never get the chance to use them, and they actually worked really nicely in this living room, so I was excited about that. And then I just paired it with this open window from the Myshuno stuff pack. I also loved how well those bar height chairs worked with the color scheme I already had. Those ones are from the Cozy Bistro kit, and they are a cherry wood with the navy blue cushions. They were just perfect. I love when the Sims 4 swatches actually work really well together. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it can be really satisfying. I picked out some simple cream curtains for the living space and then figured out the archways and windows for the hallway and the bedrooms. At first, I was thinking I was going to have roommates in here and have 2 bedrooms, but as I had mentioned, the concept for this apartment kind of evolved as I was working on it. So that second bedroom actually ends up being more of an art studio in this space. But we will change that a little bit later. Right now I'm working on the living room and trying to figure out which pieces I'd like to use. I do end up using this base game sofa with a couple of pillows on it, and I paired it with this beautiful armchair from the Courtyard Oasis kit. I feel like it's been ages since I have used anything from that kit, but it's such a gorgeous one, and I really hope I can find some more uses for it sometime soon. I do really like the items in there. They're just a little bit specific, but they are gorgeous. Look at that chair. I also really love this coffee table, which is actually from, I believe, the movie Hangout stuff pack. But I really didn't want there to be a mirrored top, so I actually merged in a couple of shelves on top of it so it covers the mirror section, but I still have those beautiful painted sides, and it matches pretty well with the wood tones I have in here. I have a couple of different ones. I primarily wanted a cherry wood, but since it's The Sims 4, I did kind of combine a couple of different swatches and try to have a little bit of a mixed wood vibe in here, but primarily that reddish wood that I'm trying to cover this entire apartment in, including this shelf over here, which is from Island Living. I'm going to be cluttering that up with all sorts of stuff a little bit later on in the build. I did move the shelf back and forth in a couple of different places, but I'm pretty sure it stays exactly where it is right now. And I also decided to get some more modern day appliances in this kitchen. So I am grabbing some black appliances. The fridge is from Home Chef Hustle, but the stove, I believe, is from the Cool Kitchen Stuff Pack. I just thought that worked a little bit better since the counters had a lip on them, but then I did end up pushing them into the wall. So I could have used the Home Chef Hustle stove there as well, but I did like that one. Oh, and then the lights that I'm using here over the island, I could not tell you the last time I used these lights. I believe they're from Island Living, and they're so pretty, but I have trouble using them, but they were like the exact colors I needed for this apartment. But continuing on the kitchen, I am adding plenty of clutter in here. I wanted to have some towels by the sink, and the swatch on this was actually perfect. Again, I keep finding these beautiful cherry wood tones. I believe I'm gonna take that off the wall a little bit later though and have it look like it's mounted on the back of where the island is, so it's like right next to the sink. And I did try a few different things over on the other side. I considered having some built-in shelving where I was gonna put a computer desk. I didn't do that in the end though, and I ended up going with this table and chairs from the Cozy Kitchen Kit. Once again, the table was the exact color I needed. And then I started playing around with some other interior pieces like these paintings, which really inspired the idea of this sim being really into a lot of creative things. So we will get more to that shortly, but I am kind of jumping around and popping back into the kitchen as I find some more decor pieces that match the color scheme and the kind of items I want to include. So I added some shelving there and a flower on the table, and of course a hanging plant. I love to add plants into my interiors to just break up the color a little bit and make everything feel a little bit more alive. And then we are starting to work on the entryway, where I grabbed this coat rack from Laundry Day and a place to put your umbrellas, some shoes, a mirror, all of the things you would expect in the entryway. Although I do change my mind on the mirror and get a smaller one because I wanted to hang up this little rack for your mail and your keys by the front door. And actually, do you have one of these by your front door? I would love to know. I have one that can hang up keys. It doesn't have a place for mail. It's just keys, but I do have it exactly right next to my front door. So it is something that I tend to include in a lot of my Sims builds because it's something that I have in my daily life. Anyway, we are starting to decorate this shelf now. I wanted to have plenty of books, and I also have a little globe up here. We have some more plants, and I just go back and forth and grab a bunch of random items that I think make sense to put on this shelf, mostly books because it is a bookshelf. But I do grab a variety of items. I have this really beautiful sculpture, which I think is from the Modern Luxe kit, and a few other things. It just took a while to figure out what I wanted to put here because I don't always want to put the exact same items I always do. Of course, some of the books are always going to be the same. I like to add these boxes from Dream Home Decorator, but I think some of the sculptures were things that I don't use as often, so that was nice. And I feel like there's probably one more item on the shelf, maybe, or maybe not. I feel like I probably didn't just leave the boxes down there. Yeah, I put another sculpture. This one is also from Dream Home Decorator, and that should be it for the shelving. I'm just adjusting some of it with tulle, raising it up as it did not sit perfectly on that shelf. It was kind of sunken down below it. But back in the kitchen now, I did get a piece of artwork in here, and I also got a open cookbook from Home Chef Hustle. Also getting some knives and just a bunch of kitchen clutter that I think made a lot of sense for the space because I wanted it to feel lived in. This isn't one of the apartments that I wanted to be overly cluttered, but I just wanted to make sure it felt like it wasn't a show home. It was definitely a lived-in space, even though it has a very not peculiar, but like strict color scheme, I guess. And that is where I had moved those towels that I had mentioned before. I just thought that that made a little bit more sense there. And then I was able to fit in the cutting boards I like to put in every build. And I also got a couple of things up on these shelves. The shelf is from For Rent, I'm pretty sure. I love that shelf so much. I feel like I overuse it, but it is just such a cute one, especially with the trailing plant. And I got a cork board up in here as well. And I know I did it way earlier, but I love this fruit bowl from the Cozy Kitsch kit. I think it is so pretty. I like how simple it is. Some of the swatches are really bright, but for the most part, it's just a very nice, simple fruit bowl, and we only have a few of them in the game. Actually, it's more than a few now, but most of them are very stylized. So we have 2 base game ones, and then the Parenthood one I think is really easy to use. And then we also have one from Island Living that has bananas and pineapples in it. And then I think there was a special one you could get with For Rent if you ordered it early. And I think there's one other one I'm forgetting. But there's not a lot of simple ones. And I feel like in that swatch in particular, the Cozy Kitsch one is very simple. Anyway, we are well into the living room now because I only decorated part of it before we went all in on the kitchen. So here I picked out a fireplace, a nice bookshelf, and I ended up using a frame TV over here, although I'm not sure if I kept that because I did not keep the dressers that are underneath it. I'm pretty sure I swapped that out for the record player from the Party Essentials kit. So that'll be changing here shortly. And I also got a globe bar in here. It just felt correct. I don't know why. I love the globe bar. I don't know if that's a popular item amongst others or if that's just something I really enjoy, but I think the globe bar from the Vintage Glamour stuff pack is so cool. And it just allows me to fit bars into more homes. And I just think it's a fun, like, quirky item. I like interesting pieces like that. But yeah, just decorating this bookshelf. I used some of these wall pieces from Snowy Escape to add some extra detail to the back of parts of the bookcase so that it felt a little bit more closed in. And I really liked that addition. And of course, getting a plant over in the corner as well. And I believe this is where we're going to get rid of these dressers. Yeah. And I opted for the record player instead. I just thought it was really cozy and allowed a space for your Sims to listen to some music. And of course, I wanted to decorate the fireplace. This one is from Growing Together, and it had the perfect wood tone, so I am just cluttering up the top. We have a candle, some board games, and I believe like that box where you can like give hand-me-downs, not hand-me-downs. I can never remember the words for it, but it's how you're able to have like Sims inherit things from previous generations. And I just think it's a really pretty box. It works nicely on bedside tables and dressers and the fireplace. So I tend to just have them in my builds, whether you're going to use them for that purpose or not. I think they're a really pretty decorative item. And here is some more of the idea of the Sim being an artist. And they have not only the prints in the living room leaning, they also have some in the entryway. I think these are ones maybe that they're going to be listing soon for sale, or maybe they're bringing to an art gallery, or have people that already bought them and they're waiting to be picked up because they were already purchased. I liked the idea of them waiting to go someplace, so they are by the front door. And then in the bathroom here, for the first time in a really long time, I used the custom shower doors that came from Lovestruck. It's been a while since I've done this. I tend to go for the shower tub combos, but I really liked how this looked, and it brought in more of that black accent that I have throughout the rest of the space. Especially, I liked this because this bathroom is an interior bathroom, so it doesn't have any windows, and so it brought in those windows through a shower door. And I do a lot of interior bathrooms in my builds, and I think it's because I've pretty much always had an interior bathroom, at least in the apartments I've lived in as an adult, which is very frustrating because there's not proper ventilation, and the ventilation, like fans and stuff that I've had, have never worked very well. So it's a constant battle having a bathroom with poor ventilation in it. Mold is not fun, but you know, I guess that's why I tend to build my bathrooms like this, although I don't anticipate this one to be moldy. It's very nice, and I think this apartment would have great ventilation. Anyway, this is going to be the office space I had mentioned before. I also had thrown the keyboard over into the other bedroom because I had it in the living room at first, but I thought it would make more sense in the office, and then it didn't really fit in here, so I was like, okay, that can be in the bedroom. I feel like you're probably going to have different hobbies in different areas, and things are ever evolving, so your Sim might all of a sudden be like, okay, I'm not painting anymore, I'm going to do candle making, or I'm going to be a gemologist and have the gemology table. So those are all things you could swap out for whatever kind of creative you imagine the Sim to be. But I liked the idea of having sort of a painting studio that's also an office, so there's a computer and stuff in here. And then I have the keyboard in the other room. And yeah, just getting some more decorations in here. I like putting a little chair in the corner. I feel like it's a realistic piece of decor in a lot of rooms, and it tends to become the chair, whether that's a bedroom or an office. It's the chair you end up throwing things on and you're like, oh, I'll put this away later. Or if it's in your bedroom, you know, this shirt or this pair of pants is not clean because I wore it, but it's not dirty enough to wash. It's clean enough to wear again. So where do I put it? And then it just ends up on the chair and then you have a giant pile. And speaking from experience here, but I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, finishing up cluttering up the desk over here, I also have some paintings and sketches on the wall, a couple of framed things up above the desk, and getting some more canvases in here as well for your Sims to work on, as well as storage for things that are drying. And then we are finally working on the bedroom, which I ended up using this bed from Growing Together with the bedside tables from For Rent. They matched beautifully, and I'm just figuring out the rug now and what sort of artwork I want to have up above the bed. I did end up putting some shelves up here, and there is a spot in the middle where there are 2 end brackets, but I put some books there to cover that up. So it looks like just one really long shelf, which I think looked way better. And I thought that this was just a nice way to add some more personality to the space instead of just having one piece of art. So I got a variety of things up there. I have a nice tray on the bedside table, and I've been loving this mirror lately from Growing Together. And also I've love these lamps as well from For Rent. I think they are so pretty, and just like a regular looking lamp that I feel like everyone has had at some point or at least seen. And then just grabbing a couple of pieces of decor for the bedside table, some useful items, a place to put your glasses and your watch, your phone, all of that. And that is pretty much it for this build. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. And a massive thank you to my YouTube members for all of your support. If you'd like to become a member yourself, you can click the join button below the video or the link in the description. And thank you again to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you check out that link down below as well. And we're just gonna finish up decorating the bedroom with a wardrobe, a pretty chair in the corner, the same one I used in the living room, of course another hanging plant, and a place to put a couple of pieces of artwork. And that is pretty much it. We're about to head on into screenshots, so I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you will enjoy the screenshots, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye everyone.